Oh, hello, knights. You may notice that I am wearing a blindfold.
Sparky, the knights, they're over here.
Oh, what's that? Oh, I knew that. Anyway, it's great to see you. Hear and smell you. I can tell someone had delicious pancakes this morning.
Sparky, why are you wearing a blindfold?
Well, I took your advice and put a freeze on my jokes.
But why the blindfold?
You know my good friend Melvin, don't you?
Yeah, he's that northern bat, right?
Yes. Northern bats are the only bats that live above the Arctic Circle. Like all bats, he uses a sonar system to fly around at night. Since I don't have sonar, I'm trying to see how well I would do if I had to rely on just my hearing and smell.
So you're telling me that you can tell what I'm wearing, what kind of shoes I have on, and how many numbers I'm holding up with my fingers?
Absolutely. Just relying on my super sensing ears and nose. I can tell you are wearing a bright green parka, you have on fuzzy pink slippers, and you're holding up 11 fingers.
That's amazing.
Thank you. It's a gift.
I meant amazing by every word you just said was wrong.
Are you sure? Knights? Did I get it wrong? Well, maybe I need to work more on my skills.
Good idea. How about we bring in the royal musicians to sing us a song while you go take the blindfold off?
Okay. That feels better. It's not easy when you can't see.
No, it definitely is not. Let's try something I know you are good at doing. Could you remind us of our banner verse?
Oh, that's easy. Our banner verse is Ephesians 6, verse 10. It says, "Be strong in the Lord and in the strength of His power."
You got it. Knights, say that banner verse with us. Are you ready? Be strong in the Lord and in the strength of His power. Sparky, are you ready for something else that I know you are good at?
Sure, I'm on a roll.
I think you are. Can you help me interpret the fourth riddle? You are the only one I know who can read this language.
Wow, this one seems a little strange.
What does it say?
It's the strangest riddle we've had so far.
Okay, but what does it say?
Maybe I read it wrong. Could it be a joke?
Sparky, what does it say?
Oh, it says, the shield of faith is not found yet. Direct your search for feet so wet.
Feet so wet? That's strange.
Exactly what I said.
Well, it looks like we'll be on the quest for the shield of faith today.
And to find it, we look for wet feet. There are some animals that keep their feet in the water a lot, like flamingos.
I don't think there are stories about flamingos in the King's Book, except maybe the story of Noah's Ark. And there's a lot of water in that story, but what I'm going to guess is that we're looking for a person or people that get wet feet.
Well, I know there were people like John the Baptist who spent a lot of time in the water. Also, the Israelites walked through the Red Sea, but that was on dry ground. How about Jesus washing other people's feet? Their feet would be wet.
That's true. But if we're looking for a story about faith, I think that the story that we need to read, it's a story about someone who actually walked on water.
Wow, on water? Was he walking on a frozen pond?
No, he actually walked on real water.
Wow.
It was a lake. And I wonder though, if the royal players can bring that story to life for us. Let's take a look inside the King's Book.
The books of Matthew, Mark, and John all tell about an interesting adventure involving Jesus, his close friends, a boat, and a storm. It all begins at the end of a famous miracle where Jesus fed a large group of people with only 5 loaves of bread and 2 small fish. After everyone had eaten and collected the leftovers, Jesus told his friends to get in a boat and sail to the other side of a big lake. When they left in the boat, Jesus took time to talk to his dad. We just call that praying. As it got later in the night and the sky grew darker, Jesus' friends were in the boat, in the middle of the lake, in the middle of a storm. So what did Jesus do next? Jesus didn't need a boat. He didn't need a life preserver. He didn't need a swimsuit. He didn't even need a rain jacket. Jesus just started walking on the water. Jesus walked on top of the lake, in the dark, in the storm, all the way to his friend's boat. His friends thought he was a ghost. Jesus said, "No worries, guys. It's just me, Jesus." So what did his friends do? They were all still very afraid, all except for Peter. He shouted back to Jesus, "Hey, if it's really you, Jesus, can I come out there and walk on the water too?" His friends were shocked. But Jesus said, "Absolutely, come on out here." Peter looked right at Jesus and climbed out of the boat, walking on the water. However, Peter quickly remembered that he was in the middle of the lake, in the middle of a storm, at night. He began to sink and cried out, "Lord, save me!" But Jesus immediately grabbed him. As they walked back to the boat, Jesus said, "Why did you worry about the water in the storm? Where did your faith go?" When they walked back into the boat, the storm died down. His friends began to tell Jesus, "Wow, if we had any doubts, they are gone now. You are definitely God's son." And this is just one great story from the King's Book.
That was amazing. amazing. It was like we were right there. Did that actually happen?
It sure did. Jesus was able to walk on water because, well, he is God's son. But when Peter did it, that was a miracle.
I can't wait to learn more about this story and find the shield of faith.
Let's give the knights our castle call out. It is armor up with faith. Remember, we just put our fists on our shoulders like this. I'm going to put my pages down. Armor up, and then we need to say faith. So we're going to touch our temple with faith, and then we're going to grab onto, like we were grabbing onto our sword, with faith. So we're going to say it together. Armor up with faith.
Looks great, knights. Okay, now, let them start their quest.
Well, we're almost ready, Sparky. One other thing our knights need to learn is archery. It is a very valuable skill for a knight.
Archery? As in a bow and arrow?
Exactly. Archery is a very important skill for knights. So let's stand up and practice. We can hold our pretend bow in front of us. We can put our other hand behind us and pull out a bow from our back. Pull out our bow. We can put them together and pull back our arrow and aim it at the lights on the ceiling and see if we can hit one. Now don't point your bow at other people, just at the lights on the ceiling and pull back. Oh, I hit it. That's amazing.
Wow! It looks like they've already mastered this skill. Now, can we start the quest? I need to find out more about this shield of faith. Choo!
Now, when you're done unfreezing, you can start your quest to find the shield of faith. And knights, have a great day, and we will see you back here at the castle after the quest.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have entered the 4th week of our night competition. And here we are, doing yet another grand thing, so that the knights can be decided who will be the knight to the king's army. Now in this royal event, the knights must take shovels of water, because you know knights always have to carry things and be extra strong. They must carry their shovels of water from one bucket to the other. And whoever's bucket is the fullest after 2 minutes will be the winner of the day. And so, are you ready, Micah? Are you ready? All right. We have set a timer for 2 minutes. On your mark. Oh, focus. Don't forget, get on your flag. And cheer on your knight. On your mark. Get set. And go. Go, team. Go, one knight. Go, one knight. They need your encouragement. Go, crier will measure. Since I have been given the royal responsibility of deciding who the next knight of the king's army will be, we will now measure who the winner of today is. White Knight, you have been able to get 1 inch of water. 1 inch. We will measure twice because we know we always measure twice and cut once. There's a lesson for you. And we go over to the black. And we will measure. That is measuring once, but you know we must measure twice. And the Black Knight gets 1.5! Woo! The Black Knight is the winner of the day. And if you've been keeping track, then you know that now the Black Knight has 2 points. And the White Knight has 2 points. And so we must do one more competition next week to decide who will be the next knight of the King's Army. We will see you next week at the castle.
All right, let's apply the story of King Saul, Goliath, and David to our story and our life. You see, bullies can make us feel really small and alone. In fact, bullies tend to pick on people who are alone. Who was the bully in this story? Do you remember his name? Who was the bully in this story? Goliath, right? Well, Goliath was bullying the Israelites. He was insulting them and their God. In fact, Goliath was humongous. But one person who believed in God's power and God's justice went out and he faced Goliath. Who was that? David. That's right, it was David. Well, many people read the story of David and Goliath and think, see, you should always stand up to every bully that comes against you. Well, David did, and he bonked him right on the head, and he won. But that's not what always happens. In fact, a lot of times when you stand up to a bully, you're the one who gets clobbered, especially if the bully's bigger than you. And so, in this story, we have Goliath, the bully, and we have the people who were being bullied, which was all of Israel. And then we have somebody who came up and stood against the bully. That was David. But you know what? Please never forget that there's somebody else in this story as well. So we got Israel, we got King Saul, we've got Goliath, we've got David, and we've got somebody else who's the most important person in this story. And who's that? That's God himself. You see, God stepped into this story. And that's what David knew was going to happen because he believed in God. And David stood up against the bully because he knew that God was with him. The same God that had helped him against the lion and the bear was the God that was going to help him against this bully Goliath. So, the lesson for you is whatever you're facing, whatever bully comes against you, whatever's happening that you don't like and is hard, remember that God is always with you. And there's a second part to the story, and that is that bullies pick on people who are alone all the time. Well, you know, when David walked into that valley, he was not alone because God was with him. Friends, I want to ask you, that if one of your friends are being bullied, would you walk into the valley with them and help them face the giant? You should, because David didn't go alone, and your friends shouldn't go alone either. So you go with them, and you be that friend, and you take God with you into the valley, either where you're being bullied or where your friend is being bullied. Because together, you, your friend, and God will be victors. Thank you for joining me here in the Royal Library. And here we are back in the Royal Library taking a look at how do we fit into the story of Jesus and Peter and walking on the water. Here's my first question to you, and you can answer this with the right answer. It's not a yes or no. I need the right answer. When the disciples saw Jesus walking on the water towards them, who or what did they think it was? Do you remember the story? If you said a ghost, you are right. They thought they were seeing a ghost with their own eyes. They had a hard time believing that that was a person because he was walking on the water in the summer. Well, when they found out it was Jesus, who was it that said, "Hey, let me come out on the water with you"? Do you remember that guy's name? Well, if you said Peter, you're right. It was Peter that had enough faith to walk out on the water. And so Peter walks on the water. He really did. But then what happened to Peter? Yep, he began to sink, just like you and I would if we stepped into a swimming pool, right? We would sink, and Peter was beginning to sink. Now what happened? Well, you know from the story that the problem was that Peter took his eyes off Jesus, stopped believing in what Jesus had told him to do, and began to look at the storm around him and was believing more in the storm than he was in Jesus, who was standing right in front of him. So here's the question for you. Do you believe in what Jesus says and what Jesus does? And do you believe it enough to act on it, to actually step out like Peter did and act on what Jesus says is right? You see, this idea of having faith in Jesus simply means to believe in what he says. When we go to plug something into the wall, we can't see electricity, but we sure hope it's there. We believe that there's going to be some power inside that outlet. In the same way, although we can't see Jesus right now and we can't see God, we believe that he is right there. The Bible says he is as close as the calling of his name. So friends, I want to invite you to put your faith in what Jesus has said and what Jesus is calling you to do, and just believe in him. That's faith, believing in Jesus.
Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to the Indoor Alchemy Lab of the North Castle. Welcome, Knights. This is kind of a cool thing. In today's story, the disciples were in a boat, and they went out into the lake. And when they were out there, they were kind of like powered by, I guess, sails, or by oars if there was no wind, or both if they really wanted to go fast. Now, in today's world, ships are made by different things. They're made out of metal and other stuff, but how are they powered? That's right, they're powered by engines, and they need gas, and they got moving parts, but there are still boats out there that you use oars with, or you use wind to get around. Now, because we're in the alchemy lab, science, we're going to use something weirder and stranger, okay? Now, also, I'm not going to use steel to make a boat for this demonstration. What I'm going to use is, I'm going to use a milk carton, well, part of a milk carton, and if you would like to try this experiment at home, you can, because it's safe. It's not something that you are going to blow up or do anything weird, okay? Now, you could use sides of milk carton if you have some that are not full of milk around, or you could use cardboard or something else like that. That's kind of like a sturdy cardboard kind of stock. All right, now take a look down here and I'll show you what we're gonna do. All right, here I have my C, my simulation C. I'm using a
baking dish, but you could use a pot or a roasting pan, something that you can pour some water in and have some space for your boat to move. Now, I have taken my piece of cardboard out of the side of my milk carton, and I have cut it in the general shape of a boat, and I put a little notch in the back because I want it to move forward. Now, over here, I have some common dish soap, and I'm going to get some and I'm going to drip it right at the back here. Okay, I'm going to, oh, look at that, we saw it move. Wasn't that fantastic? What's happening here, boys and girls, is that water is made out of molecules, and those molecules like to stick together. But when we put soap in there, and you can see a little bit of soap there still making it move around, when that soap gets in where the water is, those water molecules want to push away. And with that little notch cut in the back, there's only one way for the water to go, and that's back. And that's why the boat moves. Now, when it comes to this, we can see what's happening. Now, we believe that this ship, this boat can move because of the soap. Well, because we saw it happen. Now, Jesus calls us to have faith in the things we cannot see. We can have faith that in Jesus' power and through God's children, Jesus is building. All right, have a great day, and I will see you next week.
Hey Knights, and welcome to the sitting room of the North Castle. I'm so excited that you're here again. As you know, I am the jester of the castle, and it is my job to make everyone smile. Today we are going to do crafts, but we are going to make a very, very important part of the Knights' uniform today. Today we are going to make the shield. So if you want to get out your craft bags, you are going to need the shield, which of course has a handle on the back already, so it is ready. But every knight's shield must be decorated and ready for battle. So today I want you to get out your shield. Now I've already started mine. I put a border around mine, and I'd like you to write the word faith on your shield. Just like you're not going to have it exactly like mine, but this is our shield of faith. So we want to write the word faith. F-A-I-T-H spells faith. So if you write faith, or if you need help, you can get your parents to help you write that word on your shield. And we are going to just decorate it. Now in your bags, you're going to see a little package of jewels. Those are to put on your shield. You can put them on wherever you want. You'll also notice that you have a few markers, but you are more than welcome to use whatever you have at home. If you want to paint yours, or you want to use markers or crayons or pencil crayons, you can color yours however you want. And at the end of this video, there's an email, and I would love to see how you decorated your shield so that I can maybe get some pointers, because I don't know exactly what to do with mine. So I thought maybe you could help me decide. But I thought I might just start by sticking the stickers on. They are sticky jewels, because you know that makes every shield fancy by putting jewels on it. So I thought I might stick the jewels around the border of mine, just to make it bright and fancy. Lots of jewels, because of course jewels are expensive, and it makes it look more royal, doesn't it? So we will make it full and sparkly with jewels to make it look very, very nice. Let's see, I got a few more so we can stick on more. Now in the story today, Peter had a lot of faith, didn't he? He used his faith and stepped out of the boat. Now, if the waves were crashing and there was a storm, would you want to get out of the boat? Because you know what? I sure wouldn't. So I think Peter was very brave. He actually got out of the boat when all the other disciples stayed in it. They probably thought he was crazy, you know, for getting out of that boat. where they were safe. But he did. He got out of the boat and walked on water. That is an amazing miracle all by itself. Can you imagine being able to go out to your swimming pool or to the lake and actually walk on water? That's absolutely incredible. I think I have stuck all my jewels on now. So they are on. See, I made a border with mine. I stuck all my jewels on and made a border. Now, I'm going to color in the word faith. And today's story was about water and about Peter walking on water. So I thought I might take some blue and draw some waves. Do you know how to do that? I'll show you how I do it. Just to remind me that Peter actually walked on water. So see, I drew some water on there because I want to remember the story and be able to, when I look at my shield, remember to have faith in the things that God can do and will do for me. So keep decorating those shields. I'm going to keep decorating mine, and I can't wait to see what yours look like. And I will see you next week right here at the castle.
The disciples saw Jesus walking on the water and thought he was a buoy, a boat, a ghost, or the same fish that swallowed Jonah. A ghost. What is a moat? Water surrounding a castle, a motorboat, a small goat, a very warm jacket. Water surrounding a castle. A drawbridge is a bridge for artists to use, a movable bridge over a moat, a bridge that is drawn in a picture, a bridge used only by fire trucks. A movable bridge over a moat. Thanks for playing!
Welcome back, Knights, and well done on the trivia. Musicians, let's sing a song and celebrate.
Water you turned into wine. Open the eyes of the blind. There's no one like you. None like you. Into the darkness you shine. Out of the ashes we rise. There's no one like you. None like you. Our God is greater. Our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer. Awesome in power. Our God
return from their quest?
Yes, I'm so excited. They even have their shields of faith.
Sparky, you know what a shield is used for, don't you?
I do. It protects you from flying objects.
That's right. It's protection. A shield of faith means putting our faith in Jesus to protect us from unhelpful beliefs or thoughts.
Why do we need protection like that?
Well, sometimes our words or thoughts can cause us to doubt ourselves or to doubt God, but our faith in Jesus can help us keep those words and thoughts away.
What kind of words and thoughts?
Well, one thought is that maybe we don't need God, or that God doesn't love us. But God does love us. And God sent Jesus to show us God's love.
But what is faith?
It's kind of like you in that blindfold you had on earlier. What if I were to spin you around a few times with that blindfold on?
I would be dizzy and not know where I was. I might bump into things.
And you might get hurt. But what if I was there to give you instructions and tell you which way to go?
Oh, it still might be a little scary, but I would feel better because I know you would help me.
Yes, and it's okay to be scared, but we can depend on God to be with us no matter what. And it's not the amount of our faith, because we can have just a little bit of faith, but it's who we put our faith in that saves us.
And that is why our castle call-out is Armor Up with Faith.
And can you do the actions with me? Armor up with faith.
Let's also say our banner verse from Ephesians 6, verse 10. Be strong in the Lord and in the strength of His power.
Great job, Knights and Sparky. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you so much that we can put our faith in you, and we trust in you today. And we just pray that you'll be with us. And thank you for helping us to complete our quest. In Jesus' name, amen. Well, that's it for today, Knights. I can't wait to see you next week. And don't forget to send in those pictures to the email at the end of this video so that you can be entered into the grand prize. Can't wait to see you next week.